there, Pokemon trainers. I'm Ash.
I'm Nick.
And we're here today to do a little bit of discussion. We did some digging. Well, mostly I did some digging. Nick just stood by and watched.
Yeah, I pretty much just kind of sat there and was like, that sounds good.
We kind of went through a lot of like tournaments. Well, again, I keep saying we.
Yeah, no, you're using the royal we right now.
No, I went through a lot of tournament stats. I just sort of compiled a list of some of the major decks that we see in it. Mm-hmm. Also went through some online tournaments as well, where we got to see some very interesting decks as well. And we just, again, we as in the royal we compiled a list of some of the decks that we're seeing rule the meta. Mm-hmm. So one of the first ones that comes up a lot, especially lately, is Origin Form Palkia. Honestly, Palkia is just the better form of Suicune and can also power up Ice Rider if it wanted to. Ice Rider is one edit you can make to the deck, but mostly what makes up Origin Form Palkia is the Intelion engine, Radiant Greninja, Starmie V for additional sniping, and Temple of Sinnoh because you don't have to worry about special energy, but everyone has to worry about you. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. No.
The next probably makes Nick happy, and as well as one of our friends, Blissey V / Milk Tank has become a very interesting duo. Blissey V, of course, has the attack when it attacks, you can attach up to, I want to say, 3 energy from your discard pile onto this Pokemon, and it does more damage based on how many energy is attached to it. So it can get pretty silly pretty fast. Of course, with Miltank as well, you have protection against Vs, unless this V specifically states that it doesn't worry about abilities.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun one to see. Of course, some of the other major cards that they run in this are Dunsparce, Path to the Peak, because while Blissey does have an ability, you don't really worry about it at all.
Yeah.
Sharon's Care, because it is, again, more or less a colorless deck. Radiant Greninja to help with card draw, and lastly, Yveltal for those that have special energies. Just say, nope, back to the bottom of the deck for you.
Yeah, it's just a very ridiculous stall engine that finishes on a Blissey.
It is one of my favorites, and I've been playing with Blissey since it was first released. I wanted to make a deck around it, so seeing this deck thrive in the meta right now is a lot of fun.
It definitely slots in well because we saw from all the major regional championships that there's just tons and tons of V decks. So that Miltank just sitting there going, no, I'm just gonna chill up here in the active spot until you've bought yourself enough time to set up the entire deck and win. It's just really, really, really annoying.
Whitney's Miltank would like some words.
Yeah.
One of the next ones isn't one of the top performers, but one of the ones we've been looking at nonetheless. Origin Form Dialga it's slowly starting to pick up. Specifically, some of the builds I've been seeing are Turbo Dialga, which Zacian V to get all the metal energy, Metal Saucer, Training Core to get back that energy if you lose it. Celebrations Mew is helpful for card draw as well. There is also Bronzong in it to just keep cycling the energy through, and it's if Dialga gets built up, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah. Bronzong kind of being the unsung champion of most of these metal decks right now, with just that I'm gonna take 6 energy, put on my Bronzong, cast a Cheryl, put those 6 energy back right on.
Exactly.
You have to play Bronzong Whack-A-Mole basically to stop it.
Next deck is probably the undisputed champion right now of all the decks, Arceus Intelion, which no surprise there. Arceus is a beast in the meta. It can slot in literally any single deck you want it to. He's a powerhouse. And then when you have the Intelion engine going as well, you can just pull up the Intelion real quick just to get the damage on, and then Arceus to snipe it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's running Dunsparce to keep get rid of that fighting weakness that Arceus has. Starmie V for just additional damage. Some variants do run Beedrill, which is a fun and good choice in my opinion. But
yeah, no, it's just there's no investment cost to running the Arceus. At Intelion Engine, I think is still just the undisputed champion of just like support. So it's like, yeah, they play absurdly well together because they're both absurdly good on their own.
Yep. And the next deck I'm gonna leave to Nick because that is his pride and joy right now.
Yeah, my good old Mewtv Vmax. I mean, the deck is basically just Mew go Burr. The amount of games where you're just, I mean, like, all right, start on a Mew. Battle VIP, Genesect. Draw some cards, Genesect. Oh, would you look at that? I'm just going to win the game now because in one turn I have a full bench of Fusion Strike Pokemon, a Mew up front, and the ability to draw, times I want to say 15 cards a turn, just by saying, activate Genesect, use some cards, activate a Genesect, use some cards. It's just stupidly consistent. It's a Mew, Genesect, and 50 odd ways to get to Mew and Genesect.
Yeah. It's one of the best performing decks because it is just so consistent.
Yeah, it's hyper consistent, and like it kind of speaks to it that even after I want to say like the only major change that I've made to the deck has been I switched out like a single Meloetta for what is it, Ice-Quay?
Yeah.
Yes, simply because it just says, hey, now I've got ability to snipe the back line, and that's the only change I've made to this deck since it was put together.
Well, you also put in the Echoing Horn as well, just to...
Yeah, that's a little bit more spice I didn't want people to know about, but...
Too late.
Echoing Horn for that. I'm going to kill that and put it right back and kill it again.
So, yeah, if you're one of our locals, don't play against Nick. Next is one we've seen one of our players in our league use a lot, Reggie Toolbox. It's silly. It's fun. I'm glad to see it because after we ragged on it so much, we ragged on the Reggie so much. But honestly, the deck itself is really good. Features speed energy that you can use just to get additional cards, Stormy Mountains to pick up both Regidrago and Regieleki, Scoop Up if you need it, Path to the Peak.
Yeah.
Like it really has answers for literally everything.
And I mean, having it played against it and seeing people having to play against it, like, it also just it's just incredibly successful on the fact there's no good choice for half your, like, oh, I have a boss's order, so what do I want to get with that? It doesn't matter. They're all one-prizers. I'm attacking for, let's say, 200 damage a turn. It knocks them all out, but they also just go, cool, anyways, put it back on my bench.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, like, it shuts out so many supports. Where, like, I think the best supporter against the deck right now is Avery, to force them down to only 3 on the bench.
Or Collapse Stadium.
Yeah,
but
true.
even then, I'm kind of glad I haven't had to play against it yet. I'm kind of fearing the time when I finally do.
Yeah, I think Collapse Stadium might be the only, like, solid answer to that deck because it does require you to have a full bench to get maximum value. But yeah, just sitting there, I have a boss's orders in hand. It literally doesn't matter what I choose. They're all just going to come back.
Next, we have my personal favorite and the one I was tooling before it became a thing, Raikou Toolbox, which is kind of a further take from the original like Suicune Bird Box decks, switching out Suicune for Raikou. Mostly because water has been a huge thing, so a lot of people have been switching to Raikou to help snipe those big threats like Origin Form, Palkia, or Suicune itself. A lot of them tend to take out the Articuno, doesn't see enough use anymore in place of slotting in an Arceus. Zapdos V is still great in there just because I'm going to do 170 damage for 1 energy, and oh, by the way, if you have a special energy, discard it. But yeah, no, Raikou Toolbox is going strong. I'm glad to see it there. Another one that we've talked about briefly before, Flying Pikachu VMAX featuring Arceus. There's really not a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those really funny ones where, oh yeah, your V Pokemon can't hurt me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's one of those decks where you said that, and I'm like, okay, you have to, and they looked up at the list, and I'm like, I guess that works. Like, yeah, that's a deck.
yeah. And then some of the big features it has is, of course, Bibarel for the card draw, Pass to the Peak, because, again, you're not worrying about abilities, and Crobat Vmax, just to get quick swaps if you need it, quick kills. But, yeah, no, it's a deck. Not one I want to play just yet, but...
Yeah, it's not on my radar of decks to try out, but it's something.
Yep. Continuing with the Arceus trend, we have Duraludon Vmax with Arceus. Duraludon itself is a powerhouse, given the fact that he has the passive ability that if your opponent has any special energy attached to their active Pokemon, it takes no damage. So, just looks at these big threats, Mew Vmax, and just goes.
The nice thing about Mew is at least I have a second attack that never gets used that says it ignores abilities.
Fair enough, but
I never use it, but
still, in cases where you do still see it, because I know Sylveon Toolbox is coming back in a different fashion, and there's other decks out and around that do rely on the special energy. So,
like even just the Miltank deck we were talking about earlier, where they're playing a lot of the cheap colorless special energies because you just want to be able to put them in the bin and immediately get them back, where it's like, oh, if you happen to hit a treasure energy off your prizes put in your Miltank, that's not taking damage now. So it definitely makes the game a lot harder when you have to go, oh wait, do I want the benefit of this, or do I want to be able to put damage out?
Big features of Duraludon Vmax outside of the big boy himself. Eldegoss V, just to get words are hard. To get back supporters and other items that are in your discard. Single Strike Mustard, if you need to put out another Duraludon or Beedrill, I don't know. There are some variations that see Beedrill in this. Crystal Cave, just for heals. But, yeah, no. It's a powerhouse deck. I love it. Ice Rider Calyrex is coming back. As per the previous episode, you kind of saw what Ice Rider looks like in person. Ice Rider's just been like a solid force ever since it's been introduced. Palkia honestly made it a lot stronger if you choose to slot Palkia in. You don't have to by any means, but it's a rough powerhouse, and it's definitely fun to play, but also sucks to play against. And then lastly, for the meta decks, another one that's we just sit here and laugh about is the Mewtv Union Stall. Something we saw place third in the, the Internationals?
I believe so, yeah.
And it's just kind of been sticking around since because it's just a funny deck.
I mean, I initially wrote it off. I was like, oh, it's just a funny, and then I saw gameplay of it, and I was like, oh, wait. This is good.
Yeah. No, it's a solid deck, but it's just it just makes you giggle all the same.
I almost want to build it solely for the fact that like its alternate win condition is just looping draw effects. To be like, all right, I'm gonna Silene, put a Silene in like a Team Yell's whatever back on top, draw that, put two supporters back on top, Palpad, put that back, loop Palpadding. I'm like, it's not winning through. It's literally just gonna say I need to just loop a chain over and over when my opponent decks themselves. Like watching someone go, I can't beat them in damage. If I start attacking, I'm going to lose this game. So I'm just going to continuously loop, regeneration to just keep healing 200 a turn. And just like, nope, put that back on top, draw it for turn, put those two back on top, draw it for turn. I'm like, oh my god, this is... I would probably rip my hair out if I had to sit down across from this. Just going they're doing 190, heal 200, hit for 190, heal 2... I'm like, oh my... I want this now.
And then, of course, the big staples for this are Snorlax, again, for card draw. Miltank, because you can't have a stall deck without Miltank right now. Pyukumuku, just, again, to put cards at the bottom of your deck and draw again if you need to. And Peonia, just in case one part of Mewtwo ends up in your prizes, which is very likely.
Yeah, but I think that I've also seen them play like Hisuian Heavy Ball for that same reason, where like first thing they'll do is search the deck. Oh, I'm missing a piece of Mew. Heavy Ball, check my prizes.
And then finishing up, I compiled a list of decks that I saw that weren't like top 8 or anything, but were just funny.
Yep.
And just fun to play. So the first one is Flaffy Toolbox, which I know there were a lot of us, myself included, when they first showed off Flappy, we're just like, oh my god, that's actually really cool and a really nice electric support. Flaffy Toolbox features RCSV, Raichu-V, Pokemon Go, Zapdos, Stormy Mountains. It just kind of has answers for pretty much anything, and it can just keep getting that energy back if needed. Like, it's not necessarily the best thing out there, but, it can perform well as long as it doesn't get screwed over right in the beginning.
Yeah.
The one that I've not stopped talking about because it is the funniest deck I've seen in a long time. Magikarp Ditto. Yes, you did hear me right. There is a Magikarp deck. Tell your friends. But specifically, the Magikarp from Pokemon Go says that it will do an additional 30 damage based on however many Magikarp and Gyarados you have in your discard. So the whole goal is to discard all your Magikarp and Gyarados, pull out the Go Ditto, and go, by the way, I'm going to copy this ability. You're taking 250 damage. That's... It's not the best deck by any means. It's just funny. And when it performs, it can perform well. And Nick is just... His soul is leaving his body. Goodbye, Nick's soul. It was nice knowing you.
I'm just disassociating right now.
Another one that I saw that I'm actually going to have to look into a little bit more, Durant Mill, which Durant is all about making your opponent discard or mill cards from their library, use Galar Mine just to keep Pokemon there, curse shoveled for, again, further discard, just Crushing Hammer, Echoing Horn. It's a nightmare. It's one of the ones you don't ever want to see yourself against, because even if you take out the big threats, you're still just not winning. And honestly, that's what makes it great. There's also Lunatone. Solrock has actually been picking up popularity. And again, one of our locals has been playing it. Just because the combination of Solrock Lunatone from the Go series is pretty solid. Because Magikarp. Sorry. Solrock just grabs the energy you need for your Lunatone. Lunatone just goes to town.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. And then also Radiant Greninja just to keep that card draw.
Yep. Yeah, playing against it, like, its two biggest enemies are accidentally decking itself. And when your opponent is able to just start getting in damage faster than you're able to set up. Like, playing against it where they're like, all right, got my Lunatone out, Solrock, scoop them net, rebench Solrock, get the 4th energy on it, go for 150. I'm like, oh, that's strong, but also my Pokemon has 330 HP, so I'm going to knock that out. Like, move the Lunatone up, boom, 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 do it all over again. Like, okay, I'm just going to Cheryl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then towards the end where he was able to go, like, Rescue Carrier, get everything back, use everything, and I think you, like, double scoop netted, put them back down. I'm like, how much energy you got on that? 11? Yeah, you got that one.
Yeah, I definitely want to test that deck, too.
It's good, like, what was it? The combination of Pokestop, Rescue Carriers, and Greninja, just like, all right, I'm going to spin the stop, flip, like, an energy, like, 2 energy and a Rescue Carrier in your hand. Now I'm going to Rescue Carrier back 2 of my Solrocks, use Solrock's ability to start stapling energy onto my Lunatone, scoop up net, pick this up, do it again, staple. I'm like, oh, so half this deck can just play out of grave because you want everything constantly being discarded. We're like, oh, I lost my Lunatone and 9 energy. Oh, well, put out a Lunatone, put 6 energy on a Lunatone. Like, oh. Like, granted, though, with the advent of the Lost Zone coming back, I believe there's one of the stadiums is like, if a Pokemon go to discard, Lost Zone it.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
One of the Lost Zone, what is it? Lost City, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah, that I can see crippling the deck just because it's like, hey, I'm going to put that out. You can get your Lunatones back now.
Honestly, it's going to cripple a lot of decks, because also Ice Rider will get hit hard with that. Palkia, we'll see, hurt a little bit from it. Not too much, but yeah, no, that's going to be a nice one to see.
Yeah, a lot of the battle decks that are relying on like saucers to get energy quickly is going to hurt. Yes. Yes.
Next deck I had listed was Intelion Vmax, specifically the Rapid Strike version, not the original print of Intelion Vmax. Again, not a horrible deck by any means. It's really good for, again, applying the damage and then getting the KOs. Features Battle Styles Octillery, again, just to get that Rapid Strike energy out, or any other, Rapid Strike Pokemon / things you need. Radiant Blastoise, which, again, deals additional damage. That was Blastoise, wasn't it?
No, I thought Blastoise was like discard a water and energy, put 2 damage counters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. It plays Radiant Blastoise for that. Medicham B for the Yoga Loop / other shenanigans, just, again, as an additional attacker. So, all in all, not a bad deck. It looks like it could probably use a little more tweaking, but yeah, no, it's solid. And then lastly has been one is, I almost want to say it's like the dark horse, where it's there, and when it shows up, it's like you're not prepared for it. And that is Rapid Strike Malamar. Perhaps one of my favorite single prize decks, just because it's, hey, here, look at my hand, you take 280 damage, I'm going to put them back, and I'm going to draw more cards, and here, look, another 280 damage. It's a very silly deck. I love it. Features Oranguru, again, just to help make sure you're getting those Rapid Strike Pokemon / cards that you need to have that high damage with Malamar. Intelion Engine, again, for that same thing. Karina's Focus to refill your hand. Like, it's been around kind of since it was first introduced. Just hiding in the back, and every now and then you just see it just perform really well in a tournament, and just, it's fun.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be my next single prize deck that I'm going to build.
Probably
that or Lunatone, because again, that just looks fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is, of course, just a cursory glance of all the decks. Like, there's a lot of things out there and a lot of variations. Like, I just love the Pokemon meta, because it can seem stable for a while, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's just haha flying Pikachu Gopher, things like that. And
yeah, the confusion when the first time we ever saw the Beedrill showing up, we're like, how are they? Oh.
Yeah, no, I was very confused by Beedrill, because I'm just like, why is somebody using Beedrill? And then I read it, I'm just like, okay, that's great. How do you get Beedrill out? And then I read Single Strike Mustard, and it's like, oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
But
well, I think now, so we've talked a little bit about the current meta. Do we want to speculate what the next set might bring for changes?
Oh man, I'm very hyped for this set. I think it's going to be a good set, not only for like value. We're seeing some really cool collector cards. Like, we're not guaranteed to get all of these. We're just looking at the Japanese, what the Japanese have gotten in their Lost Abyss cards, but Aerodactyl V-Star will likely see some play just to shut down some decks. With the introduction of the Lost Zone, it's going to turn the meta on its head, because especially when Lost City comes into play, it's going to halt those decks that just rely on getting things back from their discard. There's also a lot of cards that are just playing off of that effect, where you can't use it unless you have X amount of cards in the Lost Zone, things of that sort. Rotom, be silly. Dragapult is literally launching Dreepies at people.
Yep. Yeah, here we go. Aerodactyl V-Star. Fighting colorless, lost dive 240 damage. Put the top 3 cards of your deck in the lost zone. And its V-Star power for a single colorless Ancient Star. As this Pokemon is in play, it gains an ability with the effect, your opponent's Pokemon V in play, except any Aerodactyl V-Star, have no abilities.
I'm excited for all the judge calls that are going to come from this. Like, this is going to be, if it does end up seeing play, it's going to stop just so many things in place, because I'm also assuming this is going to just stop V-Star abilities from being able to use those. Going to stop Shadow Rider. It's just kind of like a path to the peak on a Pokemon.
It's a one-sided path to the peak, which opens up if you want to do something like a Temple of Sinnoh as like a double beatdown. Just like, all right, you don't get special energy, and also you have no abilities. Like, if you can protect it, this very well could just be like the next stall card that just kind of starts locking games out, where it's okay, cool, no special energy, only you have no abilities, I'm still free to use all of mine, and we're just going to jam, I don't know, good old Miltank to where you can't even do damage right now.
I'm excited for Aerodactyl. I know there was Drapion, which I've been joking is the death sentence to Mew. Yep. Drapion V specifically has the ability Wild Style, where its attacks cost colorless less for each of your opponent's Single Strike, Rapid Strike, or Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So you can, if your opponent is playing Mew, you literally just attack for free.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and then, of course, the attack itself, Dynamic Tail, 190 damage, also does 60 damage to one of your Pokemon, which isn't necessarily great, but if you're doing something that relies on needing damage, i.e., if you're playing this in turn with Machamp Vmax, perfect.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, Drapion by itself, I'm not 100% sure how good popular it's going to get. I'm personally hoping it's not going to get popular at all. But like, it also means that looking at right now, past just like your standard like Arceus Palkia decks, there's still a lot of strike decks running around where it's like, oh, even if they're not necessarily a strike deck, they're running the Intelion engine. Like, oh, hey, would you look at that? I'm just going to get just a cost reduction of 2 just because you're using like a certain engine.
Rapid Strike, Urshifu, Single Strike is still seeing a tiny bit of play. A lot of the Dark Toolboxes will be featuring Umbreon or Single Strike, which, again, this new Sylveon Toolbox that's been going around still has it. Like, it's going to hit if it does pick up.
Yeah. If strike decks continue to kind of hang out as highly played as they are, this is Drapion's going to come and just okay, we're just going to stop that now.
And while V is great, the V-Star might not see nearly as much play. It has the attack of 2 Dark Energy, 1 Colorless for Big Bang Arms, 250 minus damage, and it does 10 less for each damage counter on it, which, again, if there's even like 5 damage counters on it, you're not going to get like KOs against Vs. And then the V-Star Power, which is its ability Star Hazard. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and paralyzed. Put 3 damage counters on it instead of 1 during checkup. Not bad.
Yeah.
If you're running it also with Toxicroak, you're looking at additional poison counters, but...
Yeah, and the Star Power is nice, but it's also kind of lacking, like, poison, sure, but... Unless that's like like you have, let's say it's a 220 HP Pokemon, you're attacking for 190 and you really need that last bit of damage. It doesn't do enough.
I mean, but if you're playing it with Sneasler, maybe.
Yeah, I guess I could see it be like a Sneasler deck built around that, where you're able to go cool Sneaslers in the active spot, activate the Star Power, so now Sneasler's doing, I believe, 160 damage,
which isn't great either, but it's.
It's at least a way to kind of hopefully set up for a quick KO without having to invest heavily, because you're able to just use a basic 1 prizer, or not I think it's a stage 1.
It's just a V, so
okay.
it's 2 prizes, but it's not.
For some reason, I was thinking the regular one had this that attack.
No, the regular Sneasler had the Air Balloon ability.
Oh, okay, there we go. Thank you.
But
I'm trying to think, see real fast if there's what else kind of. Ah, yes. This
Yeah.
is not. This is not really a going to see play, I'm assuming, but it's funny, and that's what matters. The new Metagross in the Japanese set has urgent entry instead of top entry.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the, I want to say it was the Vivid Voltage, Luxio, and Luxray, who had top entry, pretty much same deal, except if you put it on your bench, you draw 3 cards.
Yep.
So it's not awful.
Yeah. It definitely feels like with the we're starting to see like Silings and other things like that with deck manipulation. Mm-hmm. So even potentially like a Rotom phone, you just go cool Rotom phone, put you on top, pass like attack, go cool my turn.
Exactly.
And the fact that also metal colorless 100 damage and then during the next turn it deals an additional 100 damage. Mm-hmm. So it potentially can also just start hitting pretty hard pretty quickly. 2 energy required. Draws you 3 cards when it enters. Well, if you use its ability to cause it to enter. This might be like a little 1 or 2 of funny in like the metal decks. Mm-hmm. Even as just like hey, I'm gonna start to refresh my hand real fast.
Yeah, I think there was another one. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do it because I love Giratina. I think I might have talked about him previously, but. Giratina V-Star, Grass Psychic Colorless for Lost Impact to do 280. Put 2 energy attached to your Pokemon in the Lost Zone, which, again, goes off the Lost Zone play.
Yep. And I'm
kind of sucks, though.
I'm mostly assuming that, like, just because there's the Japanese cards, so they're translated. I'm wondering if that's 2 energy attached to this Pokemon. Instead of because if it's your Pokemon, that means, I'm just going to take 2 energy off a benched Pokemon, and I'm able to do this again next turn.
Mm-hmm. Fair. And then it also has the attack for 1 Grass Psychic, the V-Star Power Star Requiem. You can only use it if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone, and it's just an auto KO.
Yep.
Which, again, auto KOs can be very nice.
Yeah.
If you can get the setup for it. Again, with it relying on the Lost Zone, it needing 10 cards in it, it's going to be a little annoying, and I almost want to say treacherous, just because without being able to cycle those cards back into your deck in any way, like, it's going to start hurting.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a trend with a lot of the Lost Zone Pokemon that they have, like, a good, cheap attack, but it's usually like, oh, I don't know, I'm just like fire and, I don't know, a water energy, do 200 damage, but you also have to remove all energy, put them in the Lost Zone. And that's kind of the constant trade-off where you're getting really good, like, powerful attacks at the cost of losing, like, the energy or, like, something else each time you want to use it. Mm-hmm. Or like, oh, I can deal 150 with this attack, but then I have to lose the top 3 cards in my library. It was like it's a nice. I'm trying to think how to really put it, where it's like
tit for tat.
Yeah, maybe. Just like you can have really powerful Pokemon, and you don't have to invest a lot of like energy and resources into them. But if you do that, it's also going to be at the cost of like you are no longer able to reuse it. Like, where it's like with a lot of decks, it's like, oh, I'm going to discard some energy and just put it right back on because it's just in my graveyard. Mm-hmm. Now it's, oh, I'm going to use this and detach the energy, and I will never get this back again.
Yeah. Lost Zone is something, again, I'm just really glad to see back in Standard. It's, for newer players, it's going to throw them for a loop and just, it's going to be destructive as well, because there's already, just from this one set, there is so much support for it. There's just so many cards that are either you can't use it unless you have X amount of cards in the Lost Zone, or by using it, you put cards in the Lost Zone as well. Like, there's a lot. And
here we go, yeah, Lost City. When a Pokemon is knocked out, put it in the Lost Zone instead of discarding it. It's a stadium.
And then all non-Pokemon cards attached to that Pokemon are discarded. So your energies will ultimately end up back in your discard. But you're suddenly you cannot get back, your Ice Rider, your Greninja, whatever it is.
Where is the gift energies? Are just a fun new special energy. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage, draw until you have 7. I don't like. It's probably gonna be goes into Blissey because Blissey just wants
all energy ever. Yeah.
But like past that, I can't really see that making too much of a splash. Like, sure, draw 7 is nice, or draw until you have 7 is nice, but provide only one colorless, and the requirement to activate it is your Pokemon being knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to feel real bad if you go put that on, they go, cool, crush it off, knock it out. Like, yeah, we're just deny you that. Actually, you probably wouldn't. You just let them have the 7, but... I'm trying to think. What was the other one?
Ladies get a new reprint, which, again, I'm excited about. Search for 4 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand. That's really nice.
I'm sitting here going, oh, do I want to put this lady into Shadow Rider? Because Shadow Rider wants all of the energy in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go, cool, lady, underworld door, and just start drawing and setting up.
And I was actually thinking of Baby Moltres, where when you play, or any of the baby birds, when you play it, you can put up to 2 energy from your hand onto this Pokemon of that type, of course.
I can definitely see Lady turning into like a 1 or 2 of like in Shadow Rider in any decks that are playing the baby Galarian birds as just a way to enable them, because it feels real bad when I go Galarian Moltres, I have no energy in hand.
Yeah. Half the time I end up not even playing my Baby Moltres just because I don't have any energy.
I'm trying to think, what was the other one that's... There was another one on here. Here we go. Like, Mirage Gate is another one playing off of the Lost Zone. You can only play if you have 7 more cards in your Lost Zone, but again, it's just... You get 2 basic energy, attach them in any way you want, and shuffle.
Which is
for an item.
Great for that's actually like perfect just for Giratina alone. And then of course if you're just a deck that's reliant on other types, dragons will love dragon type Pokemon will love this. Sylveon Toolbox might see this. But
yeah, it enables Giratina, it enables basically any Pokemon that has like weird energy requirements. Like I joke about like the amazing rare Yveltal, how it requires at least 5 different types of energy to activate.
No, only 3 and then 2 colorless.
Okay, that still just goes, hey, I'm gonna get, energy for hand, the one that I need. Mirage Gate, the other 2. Laser your Pokemon. I'm trying to think. I don't think Toolbox is fine. I don't think it's with Stop currently seeing play. I don't think Toolbox is going to be too exciting. Look at the top 7, reveal any tools, put them into your hand, shuffle everything back in. I don't think of any decks that are really going to want to run that. Looking for tools, like most of the time, it's just like Choice Belts. Big Charm.
The Rotom in this set might see it. That's because, if I remember correctly, the Rotom plays off of. Yep, here we go. Rotom plays specifically off of tools, has the ability Instant Generator. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. If you use its ability, your turn ends. That's not what I thought it was. But its attack, Scrappy Short Circuit, does 40+. You may put any number of Pokemon tools from your discard pile into the Lost Zone. This attack does 40 more damage for each card put into the Lost Zone this way. The Vmax version is just a stronger version of that. But
What's the Rotom Vmax?
I don't think it's on this page, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because it would have been right there.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah. Then I thought you said... Oh, yeah, no,
yes, the Cramorant that, if people are going to start building around Lost Zone decks, good old Cramorant. It's just 110 HP, a little basic, but its ability Lost Supply. If you have 4 cards or more in your Lost Zone, ignore all energy in this Pokemon's attack costs. And then it's Water colorless, 110 damage, is not affected by weakness. Like, sure, fine. But all it requires is 4 cards in Lost Zone to say, I have a free attacker on a basic.
That does 110 damage, which isn't the best, but I mean, like, that when you're looking at, like, Miltanks and stuff, that's pretty much almost a KO right there. I mean, I think all the Reggies are unfortunately too strong for this. I don't know, because I think Regirock might be weak against water. I'm not sure.
No, that ignores.
Oh, right.
Damage is not affected
Disregard.
by weakness. Yeah. Again, like that might not be the official translation, as again these are fan translated of the Japanese card, so it might be changed slightly when it gets to the English release. But I would assume it's probably like isn't affected by weakness to prevent like hey, you have a 220 potential damage attack as long as your opponent's weak to water.
That'd be fun, though.
Just zero cost 110 damage. Either it cleans up KOs when you've like spread out all your damage, but you haven't quite got there yet, or if you're playing against like a single prize deck, this is just really good. Because you don't have to invest anything, and it's like, oh no, I lost my Cramorant. Guess I'll play another Cramorant. Like, what's that Soul Rock Lunatone? You can't survive 110 to the face. Haha.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, that might be just like a back and forth. You go deal 110, they go cool Lunatone, 30 energy onto a Lunatone. You go, yep. Next Cramorant. I'm trying to think. I think those were really the only big ones that stood out to me.
But there's definitely a lot that we've seen coming out. And we can definitely sit down and do like a proper set review here in a bit now that we have like a full list all in one go.
I'm thinking we might want to hold off until we see the next Japanese set. That way we can kind of speculate what we will be getting in Lost Origin. Compare the two, contrast the two, see if there's anything that we're really hoping for, or if there's any cards we really hope don't make it. Cough, cough, Drapions, stay out. You can show up when Scarlet Violet happens. Just give me like the next 5 months of Standard where I don't have to worry about you, and we'll be square Drapion. We'll be cool.
He's scared. He's scared.
Yeah. I do not like anything that says do, 190 with weakness against me specifically.
He's scared.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the next deck I build because he can't play anything else other than Mew Vmax at this point.
No, I can play other decks. I just prefer Mew because with Mew I don't have to think. With Mew I just like look at my hand, go, okay, that's a Genesect, that's a Genesect, and that's a Genesect. I win the game. Like Mew is truly a magical experience. When you can show up to your weekly Pokemon League half asleep, with like maybe the start of a coffee in your system, sit down, go. Draw my opening hand. I have a basic. Cool. Draw my first card return. Oh, I just won. Like, oh, it's round 2 now. I'm gonna go finish my coffee. God, that deck is so stupid. It's not like, oh, it's broken and unfair. No, it's just like, oh, I just played a Mew. Genesect. Like, all right, I'm gonna draw my deck now. Deal 300 damage because Mew is arbitrarily stupid. What's the one where I don't remember who? I apologize to the opponent if I'm blanking on your name right now. I'm very sorry, but I just remember going Power Tablet, Power Tablet, Power Tablet, Power Tablet. Genesect, draw a fresh hand of like 6. Alessa Sparkle, put 2 energy on, kill you. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, this deck's stupid. So like, oh, you can do, what is it? Like, oh, it's gonna do 190, but then minus 20 for the special energy, so 170 damage. I'll be fine. Like, surprise, Power Tablets. I got it.
Nick, I should not have introduced this deck to Nick.
I don't know. I'm really starting to eyeball the Mewtwo stall.
Nope,
Yes.
that's enough internet for you. We're gonna call it here before he starts another tirade.
No, I'm just saying I'm gonna build Mewtwo stall next because I want to be able to sit down and say I'm playing 50-minute games.
Anyway, I'm Ash.
I'm Nick.
We'll catch you next time.